So many entrepreneurs are, and this is a societal, like, I study this. I'm big into health and wellness. I am a health nut big time.
Okay.
Stress is one of the, if not the biggest threat to our human health right now in our Western world. Now, I would argue there's some other factors like environmental toxins and things we put in our body and eat, not protecting your gut health and so on and so forth, which are all very, very fundamentally important. But if you have the stress on top of that, it's just a catalyst, like a domino effect. I mean, it's really, 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 really dangerous. And entrepreneurs really struggle with that. I would think, Brian, that one of the major objections or critiques of this is that you are now compounding the stress of a year. And now you're saying there's no putting things off. It's all about execution. It's get it done. And that's it in 12 weeks. Have you found that it just exponentially increases the level of stress that they put on themselves because they're operating within such a small window of time?
Actually, just the opposite. Because the 12-week year isn't about taking everything you do in 12 months and trying to cram it into 12 weeks.
Right.
It's about accomplishing more in 12 weeks than most people. And you don't do that by taking on more. You do it by taking on less.
That's what I was looking for.
Stuff that really matters.
That's what I was looking for.
Yeah. So the 12-week year actually lowers your stress.
Yeah.
If it's adding to your stress, you're not using it properly. You're still in an annualized mindset that says, I've got to do everything right now.
Yeah.
And you're in overwhelm and you're in diffusion. The 12-week year is the antithesis of that. It's about focus. It's about consistency. And it's about kind of a cadence that you operate with. So there's a rhythm to how you go through your day and your week and your 12 weeks that actually lowers the stress. I mean, anytime you're doing the things that are most important, your stress goes down. But a lot of stress is created when we're not doing the things we feel like we should be doing. And when you've got an annual plan full of stuff like that, that's really stressful.
Thank you. That's exactly what I was looking for. So I'm glad you said it. And to the point that I mentioned before, I'll use myself as the guinea pig here that we can kind of analyze, just because it's my own anecdotal experience. But one of the things that I noticed was actually breaking down my hour by hour, right? I was doing my big 3 for every day, like really focused on like, here's the main core things I need to get done to actually hit my goals and so on and so forth. But then it was just kind of blank canvas, right? Because I'm a creative, I'm an entrepreneur. I want to have freedom. Right. There's all the things we want as entrepreneurs, but then you're having to constantly use your mental bandwidth to figure out what you're going to do next. And when I just document it before and I actually plan beforehand, man, I just ripped through that. And it wasn't a matter of just getting things done, Brian. It was also, it's like the same thing with Zuck, right? Zuck and Steve Jobs just wear the same thing every day to kind of reduce the amount of decisions that they have to make. When I was doing that beforehand and it was just kind of compressed and compounded into this time frame and allotment of time and no decisions being made, the stress really just kind of rolled off my shoulders, even though I was operating at such higher levels and getting things done at a much faster rate or higher velocity. So
you're not scheduling out every minute of every day anyways. I mean, that's not practical. You need margin in your day. So but knowing how you win the week is really critical.
It is.
And it's not about you doing more, because then you're just a hamster on the wheel.
I totally agree. How do you personally? So one of the things that I kind of surmised, and I want to see if you agree with this, I think this is a great, and I've done this before where I'll recommend books coupled with other reads that I feel like are really tie well nicely together. Have you heard people talk about in the same vein, reading something like The One Thing by Gary Keller with this? Because one of the things that I maybe found to be a challenge, and maybe you would agree or disagree with this, and feel free to do either. Don't disagree with me because I'm sitting right here. Is that to determine, you said something that's really important. It's a matter of saying yes to fewer things. That's kind of the essence of The One Thing, is really whittling down what it is you should be focused on, what those goals are, and then putting that into a format. He talks about the idea of it. I think you talk more about the format. Would you agree with like kind of pairing those two ideas together? Or how do you arrive at, I'm going to say no to these things? How do you kind of create something around that to protect yourself from saying yes to too many things?
Yeah. So we're probably not down to one thing. Because I think most people have capacity for more than one thing.
I agree with that. Yeah.
But you have to realize that we all have limited capacity, limited time capacity, limited physical capacity, limited intellectual energy capacity. And so the more things you take on, the less likely that you're going to be great at any of them. So the 12-week year is about being great at a few things versus being mediocre at many.
Yes.
And so our rule of thumb is just look, less is more. 1 goal is better than 2, 2 is better than 3. When you start to get more than 3, you're probably setting yourself up to struggle or fail. And partly because, look, the reason people feel like they have to take on so much is because they're used to planning for 12 months. And they're like, I got to get everything in this plan.
That's
Everything
true.
I can possibly think of that I want to make happen in the next 12 months. Well, so you end up with a plan and an approach that creates overwhelm and diffusion. With the 12-week year, it's let's focus on a few things for the next 12 weeks and really nail it. And then we'll stop the world and see where we're at, what worked, what
Yes.
didn't work, where we at, reconnect with our vision, lock and load for the next 12 weeks.
But how do you determine what's going to be the areas of most impact? Because that's the big thing is people
so the way
will,
we do that is we start, if you're familiar with the 12-week year, the first discipline is vision.
yes.
It's the starting point. What do you want in life? So we do that at two cuts. We take a long-term 5, 10, 15 years in the
Correct.
future. We take a 3-year, and then we align the 12-week goals with that longer-term vision. So that I'm not laying track immediately in front of myself.
Yeah.
And it's that vision that guides the goals.
Sure.
So that's how we do it in our company. We get together as a leadership team. We go offsite every 13 weeks. We review the past 12 weeks. We look at our longer term vision and we lock and say, okay, what do we need to focus on this 12 weeks to get us 12 weeks closer to where we want to be? That in and of itself, we'd celebrate as a successful year.
All right. Did you like that clip? Remember, that's not the full interview. And you can watch the rest of that discussion right above my head. You can click right on the screen. Go ahead and start that now. But before you go, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more videos just like this. See you inside.